Hello and welcome. Hello, good afternoon. My name is Chris. I'm a director at the AI Guild. And today we're going to be talking about technical profiles again. Your technical profile on LinkedIn or a CV. And today we'll be specifically looking at the role of the data analyst. This means we focus on the data analyst, not on the data scientist or something like this, or the data engineer or the ML engineer. We're going to be looking at the role of the data analyst, and we're going to be looking at technical profiles, how you can and should use them on LinkedIn or on your CV. This can be for your current employer. It can also be for your next employer. It just depends on your uses. So today I want to start out actually by looking at data roles and, if you so like, making a plea for taking the role of a data analyst seriously, particularly if you perhaps are joining us today and also thinking about a role as a data scientist, or you have a role as a data scientist and you're wondering whether the data analyst is inferior to the data scientist, which I think. So here's what goes. There's something I have noticed also while recruiting that advertisement for a data scientist position. You're literally inundated with applications. So you have more applications that you can possibly read. If you put out an application for a data engineer or for a data analyst, you get considerably less applications. This is quite interesting. Yeah. So this is what candidates want and what candidates respond to. Typically, actually, is the data scientist. You do something else, you have much less applications, which to my mind already says that if you're looking for an entry into this field, it would be much smarter to go and apply for data analyst and data engineering roles, because your statistical odds, just the statistical odds, are completely different and much better. So think like, for every application you get as a data scientist, you get like 2 as a data analyst and 1 as a data engineer. Yeah, so I have 100 data scientists or potential data scientists applying, 20 data analysts and 10 data engineers. So that's really a big difference. Then the next thing I want to say is, from working with industry in Germany and Europe, I also know that companies are building their data infrastructures, and that very many at the moment have much better capabilities when it comes to analytics than when it comes to machine learning. I'm using here the familiar distinction that the data analyst will be working with lots of data, but ultimately will be preparing a report or a visualization for humans to act on or make a decision. Whereas the data scientist scenario also works with a lot of data, does lots of things with the data, but actually contributes to something that is an automation or a machine making a decision or taking an action, like in a recommender system. So I want to say that I've noticed that people tend to over-apply on the data scientist role, but not so much on the data analyst, that the capability for analytics in Europe at least are much better and much more widespread than they are for the scientist role. And that this is a vast and evolving field, and also fast evolving field, and that if you come from the realm of analytics, your company will also need you to push its data science and machine learning capabilities. So I would expect that if you are coming from this, this would also work with you. So there are various roles: data analytics, data science, machine learning, and so on. And here's my plea why to take the data analyst role seriously, and also really particularly views as an opportunity. I'm saying this based on my experience, but also on the experience of lots of other people, or observations shared and collected from lots of other people. So the AI Guild at the moment is 1,800 specialists in everything from data analytics to ML ops, typically practitioners, sometimes also people in product and business. So there's also a broad background to this, and numerous conversations around these topics, experiences shared, lessons learned, and so on, that kind of back this up. Now, I was saying that this is your LinkedIn profile or your CV. So I'm looking at the technical profile today. I'm just looking at the technical profile. I'm not looking at business skills, not your data experience or your professional mission. So your professional mission, I think on LinkedIn, for example, is also really relevant. It should be your about statement. And data experience and business skills will be in the roles that you've had or may also be summarized. But the technical profile, specifically at the top of your CV, or actually also in the About section of the LinkedIn, is a brief summary that says that you are a data analyst or a data scientist or an MLOps person. Actually, also typically in terms of a skills profile that perhaps points to a particular domain. So you are a data analyst in e-commerce or a data analyst in the energy sector, marketing. Yeah? Or maybe a data analyst that actually works on product and you're doing product analytics. So technical profile, this is what this is about. Now, before we get too theoretical, let's right away jump into an example. So if you have any questions or comments, or you would like me to respond to something, you can just please, if you like, leave a comment. Just type in a message. I will see it. I'll pick it up if you like and respond to it. So first example. It says here technical skills, and then you read data acquisition and instrumentation, data processing, and data science. So an analytics profile can obviously also include some data science, but this one here is a profile that is somehow stronger on the analytics side. It's actually also a profile where the person got hired as a data analyst. And then the points that were made strongly here are data acquisition and instrumentation and the data processing, so that you know where to get your data from, you know how to transform it, you know what to do with it, you know how to generate an output. And it kind of speaks to data quality. So you could also imagine a profile in analytics that, for example, emphasized Tableau competence or Power BI competence. So particular business or data analytics skills and softwares and particular ways of doing things, all fine. You could also imagine a profile that highlights data visualization, but this one doesn't. It kind of highlights data acquisition and data processing within this realm and says, I can take care of making that part work. I know what quality data looks like, and I can help you to build stuff that is fault-free, bug-free, or at least significantly improves the quality of your outcome. This is really interesting for all kinds of companies that are already working on analytics and are doing more than Power BI. So that want to build their own solution and or platform for this type of stuff. Over to example number 2. Here it actually says data analysis, data processing, and data visualization. Okay. For the data visualization, right at the bottom, it immediately says dashboard, plotting, 2D and 3D drawings. So notice here that these are more general data visualization skills rather than particular software solutions. So it speaks to the fact that the person can develop these on her own or his own. Then for data analysis, it says here scripting, Jupyter notebooks, and a few other things, including actually stuff that points to machine learning, like classification or linear regression, so simple methods. Also causal inference, so that you know when there's a difference between a correlation or a spurious correlation and actually causality, plus the reproducibility of it. So this again is a more general data analytics purpose profile that kind of makes clear that there's a certain breadth to skills, that there is command of Python for some years now, also Bash and shell scripting. So it's kind of, if you so like, a broad data analytics profile that I think that I like, precisely because it says, I have acquired skills that speak to the foundation of this, and therefore I'm somebody that you can work with over the medium and the long term, independent of any particular software solution that you have at the moment. Something like this. Okay, so now I have been inviting you to look at these or glance at these, and I have immediately read out to you some of the key concepts that structure the profile. You're on LinkedIn or you're on your CV, you're talking to your superior, you want to have a promotion, you're perhaps looking for your next opportunity. You need your manager or the hiring manager or human resources to be able to understand at a glance what your technical profile is. Your technical profile, of course, includes your track record, but you can also always tune it forward-looking. So the profile should be a good match of things that you've done in the last 2 years and things that you are doing more of in the next year. Yeah, so this is it. So your technical profile isn't about what you did 10 years ago. It isn't about what you did 5 years ago. It probably even isn't about what you did 3 years ago. It's what you did in the last 2 years and what you are going to do more of in the next year. This can be things that you've only started doing or things that you're newly doing or side projects or something that you've been learning, whatever, but this is it. The range of your technical profile is -2 to +1. Done. But now you need to guide your reader. So I would like you to use headlines for comprehension at a glance. This is really important. So think about the fact that somebody looking at your technical profile probably wants to understand it in less than 30 seconds. Okay, take your LinkedIn, take your CV, ask a friend, ask a colleague. Can you tell my technical profile in 30 seconds? If they can, super, you're done. You can drop out now. If they can't do it in 30 seconds, come back to this, have another look, and make sure that people get your technical profile in 30 seconds. Indispensable to that, really indispensable, is that you organize your skills. So you noticed on the examples that I gave you that at the top, for example, it summarizes the main programming languages, and then it introduces these key concepts like data analysis, data science, statistics, deployment, Python, NLP, databases, visualization, analytics, and so on. It gives the reader an anchor. It gives meaning to the line of specific details that comes below. It tells them how to read it. Okay, it tells them to say, okay, now I'm somebody who's good at data visualization. I can do dashboarding, plotting, 2D and 3D. You get it, okay? You get at a glance, this is general purpose data visualization beyond software use, particular software tools. Person can do it. Great, you have the profile. So this really needs to be work fast, so you need to organize it well. So this is my first lesson for you, or my first general point. Guide your reader. You're the author, you choose which concepts to highlight. It needs to fit together and it needs to give me a profile at a glance. Next example. More technical skills. So now that I've spoken about this highlighting, here again, please. ETL pipelines, data processing, DevOps. Okay, so this is again another more general purpose analytics profile that says that I can work with the pipelines and the processing. It's almost on the border of a data engineering profile because there's also the DevOps part. So this person could have actually applied for both roles and did so. It also again makes clear, I have 5 years Python, I have 2 years Bash, I have R and SQL. These are my favorite Python libraries. And then if I talk about data processing, so I did signal search, I did a dynamic spectrum, I did analysis, and I did things that led to significant methodological improvements in the data processing that I have. Those in the know can probably guess that this is somebody that is crossing over from academia to industry or startups, and that's fine. If academia was your work as a PhD student, for example, that was your work, and then the skills that you acquired in the last 2 years plus what you want to be doing more of next year is precisely what you should see here, and this is how it looks. One more example, much simpler, also about technical skills, also really grouped together here relatively simply in analytics, ETL, programming languages, and then machine learning. And then with the machine learning, it says here since 2020. So newer, actually, this was a profile from 2021. So it was then just 1 year. But again, it sort of says, these are my programming language. That's the data analysis I do. I also know how to handle ETL pipelines. That again makes you an analytics person that has a broader setup, that can work with raw data, that can help build the pipelines, that isn't stuck with the software solutions of a particular vendor. So some companies really stick with the particular software solutions of whatever vendor they're using, and then sometimes they really need experts for that software solution, so that may be the case. But companies that want to be more independent, pursue a data strategy, want to own their data, want to have some control over what's happening, they will appreciate this kind of broader profile. Okay, so I have also indirectly been talking about proficiency, and this is the second point I have for you. So you need to guide your reader conceptually, and then you need to guide your reader on the level. And to my mind, you basically have two ways of guiding your reader really, really easily. And this is about indicating your proficiency. So one way in which you can indicate your proficiency is, you've seen this repeatedly, by saying 2 years, 4 years, 1 year, new, yeah, and thereby just sort of saying, I'm a user, I'm a regular user. Now, what does this mean, 2 years, 4 years? In the ideal case, of course, 2 years every working day. And that may not be the case, and that is absolutely fine. So it really means regular. Now, if you're just looking at it once a month, or you're doing a project 1 week in 3 months, you're not a regular user. You know that. You're an occasional user. And it's like this. So maybe you speak two languages, or maybe you speak three languages. I'm talking now about native and foreign languages, as in speaking and writing. And then there's languages, right? There, among these are languages where you're a regular user. This may not be every day, but there are some conversations that you have every week or every month that are in that language. And if you also know another language that you can read, or perhaps have learned some time ago, but you don't regularly use, you're rusty. You know that when you have to read, you struggle. You know that when you try to have a conversation, kind of like the wrong words come to your mind. Yeah. So if you're not a regular user of a foreign language, then you notice. And here it's pretty much the same. So a regular user means that you yourself also, you can judge this for yourself, you've been using this on a weekly, monthly basis in a regular kind of way that makes you fluent. That makes you fluent in this. Okay, and when you're fluent, then it's legitimate to indicate the number of years, so the 2 years, the 4 years, whatever it is. And this really helps the other side to also quickly understand that you are a regular user and for how long. And with this, then if you are also specific about some of the tools or libraries that you've used, it makes it easy. So let's take the Python. You say pandas, numpy, matplotlib, or whatever. Yeah, okay, so analytics visualization. If you say scikit-learn, PyTorch, TensorFlow, machine learning. If that is in your profile also coupled with I do linear regressions, SVM, random forest, and so on, right? It starts adding up to a picture of your proficiency in the role that you are applying for, or that you have, or that you want to get promoted in or switch to in your company, whatever it is. So it kind of makes this clear. Option number one, years. Option number two is what you see here with the dots. So you can kind of like use a scale of 1 to 10, dumb. Actually, please don't use a scale of 1 to 10. Use a scale of 1 to 3. And a number of reflections on this. If you use a scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 7, it already starts becoming complicated. What exactly is 5 compared to 6, compared to 4, compared to 7? Not so easy. Perhaps if you're in statistics and have done surveys, you know about the Likert scale, where you know absolutely yes to absolutely no on a scale of 1 to 7. Do you like this type of beer or something? Yeah. So yes, you can, and sometimes you want more differentiated opinion, but your reader here doesn't. They just want a rough guide. So this is how I would handle it. If you want to use a dot system, go ahead. Use just 3 dots and look at it like this. 3 dots means you're proficient. 2 dot means you're good. If it's just 1 dot, you're probably learning, and then actually it shouldn't even be on your CV. It shouldn't be on your technical profile, also not on LinkedIn, because you're learning. I would only include it once you give yourself 2 or 3 out of 3 dots. And this is also easy for you to judge at the end of the day how you want to do it. So the question you can simply ask yourself is, so if I put 2 dots there or 3 dots there, and they throw a test in front of me, or they make me go make me go up to the whiteboard and solve a problem, do I at least have the confidence to do it? Now, sometimes we don't solve it, or we have a wrong answer, or you get nervous, all fine. But principally speaking, so if you get called up on it, are you confident? Would you for yourself say, yeah, I have done this long enough, I know how to do this? If so, it gets 2 or 3 dots and you include it. Okay, why is this important? So why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because this combination of concepts plus proficiency really helps the other side to get where you're coming from in this 30 seconds or less. And that's what they need. It's not because they want to judge you in 30 seconds or not. It's because they need your help in those 30 seconds to continue the conversation. Look at it as like an opener, right? So it's like your pitch or your one-liner, or it's something that allows them to say, "Oh, I find this interesting. Tell me more." Or, "Oh, so you're a data analyst with broad capabilities in data processing, pipelines, ETL, and so on. Cool, we have some of those. Let's talk about this," and so on. It helps you to start a conversation, to then build the conversation, to establish confidence and trust. And it is equally relevant to my mind if in a company you're going for a promotion, or you want to argue that you want more responsibility in your role, as it is if you're in a hiring process and you're trying to persuade somebody else to offer you a new challenge and perhaps a better salary. So in both cases, I think this really helps if you have your technical profile really sorted. And on that note, I wanted to show you a really, really simple profile we did many, many years ago that got the job a person in data analytics, and then moved on to data science, and now is doing machine learning. It's like 4 or 5 years ago. And you see back then, such a really simple one, still did the job with the operating system here with Linux and Windows. Today perhaps doesn't, but it just simply said Python, R, SQL. For all of those, I consider, I'm confident. I consider my skills not truly proficient, but good. I have sufficient experience with statistics. The insider will recognize this as a physicist, a particle physicist by education. And I have I've done programming before. And this in itself led to a successful career in the realm of data analytics and data science. So we've been going for 20 minutes. We just have 3 minutes left. So if you have any questions or any comments or any feedback, now is the chance to ask or comment here. I would like to leave you with a couple of pointers. So number one is that the AI Guild is running a publication on Medium called Fluent in Data. You'll find it on medium.com. It's called Fluent in Data. And on that publication, we publish something every Monday that if you're enjoying a data career, you hopefully will find useful. So we'll be publishing more about technical profiles. We've already published competency profiles of senior practitioners, also of leaders in the field, that kind of give you an idea, what does a competency profile of a technical lead, a principal data scientist, a senior computer vision engineer, what does that actually look like? What do they do? How to understand what they're doing, how to read such profiles. It's in the form of guidance, it's in the form of aspiration, it's in the form of example, something that I'm really keen on, and I think we're strong on, showing people examples. And so I have a question on how to tailor resumes for freshers. So if you're looking for an entry-level job, really the first thing you need to do is you need that technical profile. That's the most important thing. It is often said that on LinkedIn, you should at the top, optimize for keyword search, and you can do that. And then it says data analyst, data scientist, SQL. But the truth of the matter is that may get you found in keyword searches on LinkedIn. But it only gets you found in keyword searches on LinkedIn. If you then actually want somebody to reach out to you, or if you're applying through LinkedIn for them to invite you to an interview, here you go. You need the technical profile in your About section on LinkedIn, or even post it at the top as a little PDF for people to view, so that at a glance they can see who you are, what kind of skills you are, what kind of role you're perhaps looking for. So your professional mission statement gets really important. And if those three things come together, so who you are professionally, what your mission is, what industry you're interested in, what type of company, and your technical profile, you have it together. You have that thing together that somebody else can use as an opener to invite you for an interview, continue the conversation, ask you whether they can help you find a role, for a recruiter to reach out to you, whatever it is that you think, these elements need to be there. With that, I come to the final comment of mine for today. So if you've been watching so far, thank you very much. If you're an AI Guild member already, great. If you're not an AI Guild member, then you can, if you like, find the AI Guild on LinkedIn. We have a LinkedIn page as a company, and on the LinkedIn page, you will find the sign up button. So it says here, you can join as a member via sign up below. So please find that page on LinkedIn now after I'm finished. And if you like, join as a member if you're not already one. Okay, with that, our 25 minutes are over for today. I'll see you next Friday on a similar topic around data careers for analysts, data scientists, data engineers, machine learning, and deep learning people. Enjoy the rest of your